Okay, what I think we're looking at here in the Bitcoin markets at this point. And this morning, before it rolled over, I pretty much predicted that it was going to roll over. I saw it starting to roll over, and I still see it rolling over. The bears are coming out to play at this point, I believe. I mean, I could be wrong. Don't take this as financial advice. I keep telling you guys that. But the Bitcoin is probably one of the most predictable things because it follows a certain wave pattern. And it took me a little bit by surprise because I thought that the wave was only going to go maybe 24 for 2,500 before it rolled over. And it went all the way up over 3,000. It was a bigger wave than I thought. But now I think that it's crested, and I think she's coming back down. It comes down in a series of smaller waves, what I call waves. That's what I call them. And it's going to come down and down and down and down and down and down and down. But this is a chance for you to prepare, because I'm going to tell you why. The tsunami is coming. The biggest wave of all is coming. It's in our future. It's going to be the biggest wave of all. It's going to be probably, I don't know. I'm going to just guess. But I'm going to say it's going to be 10 times bigger than the wave we just experienced. Now, I'm just guessing about that 10 times bigger. It might be 8 times bigger. It might be 7. It might be 15 times bigger. But it's going to be a big one. It's going to be a big one. And so now when we come back down this wave, it might take a number of months. It could take 6 months. It's anybody's guess how long it's going to take for that really big wave to come. It might take 6 months. It might take a year. It might take 2 years for it to get here. But when that next big wave comes, it's going to dwarf this wave by probably a magnitude of 10. And what you got to do is you got to prepare for it. The amount of what you got to do is you got to prepare your cryptocurrencies, and you got to be ready for that next big wave. Now, you're going to get your chance to buy in, because what's going to happen is that the bears are going to keep playing until they probably make a triple bottom on this. So they'll make a bottom, and then they'll redefine it maybe a month later or something, and then they'll make and then another bottom, probably a triple bottom they'll make. And that's after the third bottom is probably when you're going to see the next wave very slowly start to climb back up. And it's going to head back up into this next big tsunami. The monster. The monster's going to be coming. It's going to be a bull rally like nothing you ever seen before, the next one. It's going to be something else. And if you're prepared for it in advance, you're going to see an awful big returns probably on your money in this space. And you're going to get your chance. When these triple bottoms come, you're going to get a chance to buy in awfully cheap. And so anybody that buys in is going to be really going to do good. When this next, now, I'm not telling you this is financial advice, but you got to get your house in order when you see the bottoms. So look at this. These price drops, when the bears come out to play here and they keep knocking her down, and they keep getting these price drops, and it keeps heading down lower and lower and lower and lower. Don't fret. Don't say, oh, my Bitcoin's worth less, my Bitcoin's worth less, my Bitcoin's worth less, and fret about it. Don't fret. Just go with it and wait and wait. And when she's down at the bottom, try to accumulate a bit more of the good coins. Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Monero maybe, or Dash, or the better coins. Try to accumulate some and put them away for yourself and get ready for the next big tsunami. Because if you do that and you're ready for this next big tsunami when it hits, if you think this one was something, you're gonna really love the next one, and especially if you're prepared for it. And so this is what's coming now. Is a preparation time to get ready for the big tsunami that's coming later. The big tsunami is why I call it why I'm going to start calling it the big tsunami is because all of the people out there, only a certain very small amount of people right now are in this space, and are actually buying Bitcoins and stuff. And that small group of people now, because the bears are out to play, are going to get knocked out. A lot of them are going to let go, they're going to sell or whatever, and they're going to be very discouraged. Probably half of the people that are in this space are going to get discouraged. And the other half, now you're looking at an extremely small group of people, understand. Less than 1% of the population is the entire people that are into this right now. And most of them are speculators, and half of them are going to get knocked out and discouraged and everything. So it's going to be a very, very, very small group of people that are left over that are actually accumulating these coins. But what's going to happen is this has been growing for a long time, and this is going to be carried worldwide in the media when the next big wave hits and it starts to accumulate, because more and more people are hopping on all the time, and there's going to be more and more use for these coins in a practical way when this next big wave hits. And also they're going to have already solved all of the scaling problems and things like that over the next period in time. So the coins will really be ready to go. They're going to reach their heyday where they're going to be really ready to be used in a meaningful way. And you're looking at a period where there's not going to be that many people who actually have them. And when it takes off, everybody's going to want them. And this is going to be the thing when it takes off the next time. It's going to be the wave we had last time. It went up to what, 1150? And this time it went up to over 3,000. Well, this next wave is going to be a greater magnitude than the difference between the wave before this one. The next wave coming is going to be the big one. It's going to be, if 3,000, the next wave is going to take you up to 15,000. This is what I'm trying to say. It's not that far away. I would say it's less than 2 years away. I would say, I'm just going to guess right now, okay, I'm putting myself out on the line. I would say maybe 14 months from now, or something like that, or maybe a year from now. Just enough time for everything to soak in, everybody to get to make a triple bottom on the price and everything else. Just enough time for everybody that knows, and everybody that's listening to me and listens to what I got to say right here. Just enough time for you to get settled in and get them put away for yourself and get everything ready. Just enough time for you to get some good bargains on these coins and get your wallets all put away and get everything ready to go. And then she's going to come in, the big wave. And you'll be so happy because you're going to see unbelievable gains and profits. Absolutely unbelievable. Also, in the meantime, probably before that, I think silver's going to take off before this next big wave comes. Somewhere in the meantime, silver's going to take off. So all these things are great. I mean, these people that are invested in the dollar, at the same time all of this happens, you're going to see what you can buy with those dollars be diminished tremendously. What you can actually buy with them. You're probably going to see it cut in half if you're hanging on to dollars over the next year or two. Pretty much cut in half of what you can actually purchase with the darn things. And that's what's going to happen to the dollar. The dollar is going to get crushed. It's smushed. Well, you've already seen it fall from a 103 down to 96, and that's with them raising rates. Prepare to see it fall down into the 80s and down into the 70s. Now there could be actually just a little small rally in the dollar, but it's going to be very short-lived if we do have a little rally in the dollar. Ultimately, the dollar's doomed. It's absolutely doomed, but it's not going to happen right away. It's one of these situations where it takes time for the U.S. dollar index to slowly go down. It's when the dollar falls below 70 on the U.S. dollar index, your doom is coming. That's when doom's coming for the dollar. But on the way down to 70, it's going to take quite a long time, because what we have to do, we have to work through all of these excess oil reserves. And once these excess oil reserves are worked through the system, then the new oil that's going to come out of West Texas is going to be more pricey. It's going to cost a little bit more to get it out of the ground. And that's going to bring the oil price up some. As you bring the oil price up some, that's going to really trigger the consumer inflation that we've waited for a long time. And as the consumer inflation actually starts to trigger, what's going to happen is all the people that have been hoarding dollars are actually going to start to see what's actually happening. They're not stupid. In the end, they're going to start to actually see it for themselves, and then they're going to start to try to divest from the dollars, and that's going to increase the effect. And as they divest, then other ones will divest, and it'll all start to increase the effect. And that's when the whole thing's going to start to come unglued for the dollar. The dollar, like I say, is doomed. But this doom for the dollar has been coming for a long, long time. It's amazing how long they've been able to hold it off. And there's been three reasons why they've been able, primarily why they've been able to hold it off. First, gold and silver. What they did was they used the paper short contracts in order to lower the price of gold and silver. And by doing so, they supported the dollar. And then the next thing they did was they were the ones behind this whole oil thing that knocked the hell out of the oil price. And that's been a tremendous support for the dollar, because the dollar is pegged to oil. And if the oil price goes down, typically, it means your dollar's worth more. If the oil price goes up, it means typically your dollar's worth less. And see, it's an inverse relationship to the U.S. dollar, oil is. And so it's very unusual if you'd actually see the oil price go up and the dollar go up too, or if the oil price goes down, the dollar goes down too. That's unusual. Something wrong if that starts happening. And so we've been actually seeing that happen lately. That's almost like when you get backwardization of the gold and silver price, which is an unusual situation. Well, it's just as unusual to see gold, not gold, but oil price, the oil price dropping and the dollar dropping too, or the oil price rising and the dollar rising. It's just as unusual. I got to be careful. I'm going to actually confuse myself here in a minute because of the inverse relationship there to each other. So oil goes up. And the dollar goes up too. You got an unusual situation, because if oil goes up, the dollar should actually go down. That's what should happen. The same way with the interest rate there. If they raise the federal funds rate, the dollar should actually go up. And the same thing's been happening recently. You got them raising the federal funds rate, and the dollar either staying the same or going down. Yesterday, the dollar went down. They knew they were going to raise funds rate today. That had a little bit of support behind the dollar when they did actually raise the funds rate. But do you know how small it went up? It only went up from like 96.5 to 97. It went up like a half a point or something to nothing. It was like nothing, a little bit of nothing. And then I think it's fading off now. I think it's already started to reverse. That ain't nothing. So anyway, that's what's going on with Bitcoin and these cryptocurrencies. If I was you guys, what I would do is when these prices slowly roll over and go down, 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 and Bitcoin gets to a price mark. Now, I'm going to guess the price mark. I was wrong about the high. I thought the high would be 25, and it was over 3,000. And the low, initially, when I first thought the low, I thought that the high would be 2,500. I thought that the low would spike down to as low as 600 or 500. I don't think that anymore. And the reason why I thought that was because of the scaling issues. What I thought would happen, I'll tell you the reasoning of my thinking. What I thought would happen was I thought Bitcoin was going to run into a scaling issue, and it was going to cause a spike down in the price. And it would be very temporary. It would go down to about 500 or 600, just very temporarily, like a spike down, a flash crash caused by the scaling issues. I thought that when the scaling issue become manifest, this was my reasoning, When the scaling issue become manifest and it started to freeze up the network and people couldn't get their transactions through in time, that it would cause a flash crash in Bitcoin and the price would go down as low as 500 just momentarily and then bounce back up to like 1,000. This is what I thought would happen. But now I've changed my thinking. I don't think they're going to have that actually happen. So what I'm thinking now is that we're going to see the action of the bears take the price down a Bitcoin where it makes a bottom, probably in around 1,500 a coin. And that's what I'm thinking. They're going to keep going down, 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 and make a bottom around 1,500. And then it'll bounce back. And it'll only stay down that bottom for a very short period of time. And it'll bounce back to like the 1,700 or 1,800 range. And it'll go along there, boinga, 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 for quite a while, where it'll make another bottom in around 1,500. It'll keep testing that bottom, probably around 1,500. And then it'll go back up to 1,700 or 1,800, bounce along for a little while. And those are your opportunities to get in. See? You know? And get in there at those low prices. And then when it's done doing that, it'll start to slowly climb back up again. It'll be climbing this new mountain. But the new mountain is not going to be, it's going to be a wave. It's going to be a tsunami wave. It's going to have to climb up. It's going to be dizzying. It's going to pass the 3,000 mark and keep right on trudging up. And keep right on 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. It's going to be nuts. This is what I think. And if you get in that space and you get solidly positioned, when we get these lowest prices, probably 1,500 or something, you probably won't be able to get the 1,500 price. You probably have to settle for maybe the 1,700 or something, or 1,800. But still position yourself, and then wait for that big wave that's coming. And I think that just a few Bitcoins, a couple of them, will make you rich practically. It's just going to be so big, that next big wave. I think these guys are right. They're predicting Bitcoin could go to $100,000 a piece, but probably not on the next big wave. Probably the one following that. You know, ultimately. So see, it's doing the same thing over and over again. The next big wave, maybe it'll go up to 15,000. And then it'll fall back down, but it'll fall back down to like 8,000 or 7,000. And that'll be where it falls down to. And it'll go along and make a triple bottom again, and then it'll make the next big wave after that. It'll be like 50,000 or 70,000 or whatever. And that's what it's doing. It's nuts what it's doing, but it's been doing this. It hasn't just... I did a video on this. I did a whole video on this, and I showed in very much detail waves going back for like the last 6 waves or something, or 7 waves, going all the way back to when it was like 9 cents on the first wave, and it went up from like 5 cents to like 9 cents or something like that, and then it fell back down again. And then it made the next wave where it went up to like 25 cents, and everybody thought, oh, it's worth a fortune, 25 cents, wow. You know, Bitcoins are 25 cents. Can you believe that this is expensive? And it's all relative. It's all the way you're thinking. It's all in your mind. What's expensive for a Bitcoin? There's no upper limit. So back when they were thinking they're expensive at 25 cents, you know, now think about 25 cents for a Bitcoin. You know, it doesn't seem expensive anymore, does it? Well, that's the same thing when they're $100,000. Then they'll say a $60,000 Bitcoin's cheap. And what about when they're $1 million? Then they'll say a $700,000 Bitcoin is cheap. There's no reason or ration behind it. It's just like, it's all just according to your perspective. You know? Because there was a guy a few years ago, and he bought a pizza, and he thought he was really getting a good deal on a Domino's pizza. He paid 7,000 Bitcoins for it. The most expensive pizza ever sold. You know, and that along in that same time frame, there's some guy who spent, I think he spent $20 on Bitcoins, and he put them on his laptop, and his girlfriend threw his laptop away. And that's back when Bitcoins were something like 2 cents a piece. You know, and he bought $20 worth. She threw his laptop out, and later when they got up to $1,000, he was in the dump looking for his laptop, digging around in the rubbish looking for his laptop because he couldn't find it because it had like 10,000 on it or something, Bitcoins. And that's back when they were worth 1,000. So, I mean, he was like, it's like a $10 million laptop. And he was like really wanting it. Really wanting it. Because I don't think the guy had much money. Anyway, there's a lot of Bitcoin stories like that went around. But the stories are still being made. This is not over. This is actually just beginning. Because if you get the whole world transitioning over from a fiat monetary system over to a digital blockchain technology type system, and these blockchains actually take over the way money is held, first off, the banks better stop this pretty soon. Because I'll tell you what, they're the third party in any transaction. And these coins eliminate the need for a third party. Need I say more? Anyway, not like I'm going to cry about them. If you've been watching my channel, do you know how I feel about the bankers? If you've been watching my channel, you know how I feel about them? Like I'm going to cry if they lose over this and they all get toasted over and they're all gone and their establishments are all closed and they have to go out and find some real work. Like I'm going to cry about that. Anyway, thank you for listening, like and subscribe, and hey, we'll catch you in the next article. Bye.